From the Aishin Broadcast Studio, it's the Amped EV Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Amped EV Podcast. My name is David and today we are amped to be speaking with Brant Hastings. He is ABB E-mobility's North American president. Let's get to the interview. Brant, thank you so much for being on the show today. Really appreciate your time. We are talking about ABB E-mobility's new C50 compact charger you had some details released in December on this product. And to me, it seems very intriguing for those EV drivers who are kind of a little more dependent on the destination charger. So can you kind of start us off just by giving us a little bit of the important specs that we need to know about when it comes to this charger? And then also, what sorts of problems in the marketplace is ABB trying to solve?
Well, first, thanks for having me on the podcast today, David, to talk about ABB E-mobility's new C50 charger. Let's start with the name. C50, at its core, reflects a compact destination-ready charger that delivers up to 50 kilowatts of optimized power. To provide the right types of solutions, especially to retailers in the space, what's really critical is matching charging speed to what the consumer is actually doing at a location. So for example, your average shopper is spending about 45 minutes in the store, and the 50 kilowatt power output is tailored really well to about a 1 hour typical dwell time of a shopping trip. And it also has the ability to provide 25 kilowatt capability over dual ports to maximize plug-in availability during high traffic. So this charger delivers enough charge in your routine trip to the store to cover a week's worth of energy for most people. This is why we simply like to say 1 hour for 1 week. I think the second part to keep in mind with the C50 is that it fits into spaces where charging aligns naturally with daily activities, like shopping malls, parking lots. Space is at a premium in these areas. It's the thinnest charger of its kind at this power level. No one is slimmer, and it's over just 9 inches deep. So that makes the C50 fit to purpose in this use case, and it can be configured back to back, flush to wall, or in second row types of setups. So we know that drivers expect a premium user experience, and charging with the C50 actually feels like using your smartphone. The responsive 21.5-inch touchscreen is just intuitive, and it allows you to integrate with loyalty apps. So the experience from your charger to your phone is absolutely seamless. And again, I want to underscore, user experience is absolutely a priority for us at ABB E-mobility. It's at the core of everything that we do. And the charging journey with the C50 is guided every step of the way. So that the experience is just miles ahead of the rest of the market.
That is fantastic. And, obviously user experience goes beyond just the driver. It's referring to whoever is installing that charger at their retail space, right? And so how is ABB trying to ensure that that retailer isn't encountering maybe some of those typical barriers to entry that they might be having who might be wanting to get into installing EV chargers at their place of business?
I think about barriers in this space in a couple of different ways. I think there's barriers for retailers, there's barriers for customers who are also drivers, and there's also barriers for the industry at large. So let's kind of break that down into its pieces. For retailers in particular, charging has not historically been part of their core offering. It's always been sort of a side product, typically handled by a third party. Meanwhile, their customers are adopting electric vehicles, and retailers who own their real estate are recognizing that charging can add value to their core business, and it can also open up new value pools for them. I think in the second instance, for customers and drivers, the lack of charging infrastructure has absolutely contributed to range anxiety, and it was often a significant barrier to purchasing an EV. And then for the industry at large, in the early days, most of the industry was focused on supporting longer driving distances, Therefore, charger deployment happened mostly along highways. And we were missing a systematic approach to the charging infrastructure planning. So let's talk a little bit more about that. At ABB E-mobility, we see a need for a solution that realizes the potential of public EV destination charging by bringing that right level of fast charging to a wide range of public places. So fundamentally, at its core, the C50 is designed to power places. And we also know that retail operators are seeking to electrify their destinations. They face barriers, particularly as it relates to return on investment. And to date, most charging technology just hasn't fit that use case. I think the last comment I would make on that is that slower AC charging, which is really designed for overnight use, it just doesn't match the power needs of a trip to the store and the time of that visit. And then on the other end of the spectrum, ultra-fast DC chargers are costly. They're technically super complex, and they're often underutilized, which challenges the ROI for those retail operators. So as we all know, retail is a highly competitive landscape. And we know that now consumers have more choices than they ever have, particularly in that retail environment. These retailers, they are fighting for customers. They're fighting to increase their touch points. They want to deepen loyalty. They want to increase their in-store dwell time and subsequently spend in share of wallet. The good news is the C50 is designed to fit the destination use case. It's designed to elevate the profitability to the retailer by attracting those high-value customers, increasing the time that they spend in store, and creating new opportunities for the retailer in terms of branding, advertising, and loyalty, all through a managed asset.
Presented from the Aishin Broadcast Studio at Babcock's Media.
We're talking a lot about public spaces, but it seems to me that something like this, especially with its small, 9.3 inch user profile, it might be really good for a household or an urban household setting specifically, where space really is at a premium. Do you see this kind of catching on in that space as well? Do you think it might even inspire a spike in EV adoption in some cases?
It's really interesting. If you're like me, most of your trips in your EV, they're very local. I was looking at some data recently. Over 80% of daily trips are less than 30 miles, meaning most drivers, they don't need ultra fast charging all the time. What they need are reliable, convenient charging solutions where they're already spending their time, like shopping centers, workplaces, urban hubs. When drivers can charge during their normal activities, when they can check it off as part of a routine that they already have, it reduces that perceived effort and that time commitment and alleviates a lot of this range anxiety. About 1 in 3 Americans, they rent their homes, which means that they likely won't have access to at-home charging. And when charging fits into your everyday life, EV adoption becomes viable for the millions of drivers who lack access to that home charging. It bridges that gap for renters, apartment dwellers, and those without private parking. And so the next wave of growth depends on making EV ownership accessible and convenient for mainstream users through ubiquitous destination chargers. And it's not just about building reliable fueling infrastructure for hundreds of millions of drivers. It's actually about creating a user experience that removes those barriers and already aligns with our existing behavior.
And I'm so sorry, but I'm so fascinated at the fact that you and your team was able to slim this thing down to just over 9 inches. I mean, I'm sure that you've gotten this thing as just as thin as you possibly could. And so I'm not even going to ask about the engineering that had to go into it, because I'm sure that's going to go way over my head. But my question is, are there advantages to having that small of a profile beyond the obvious, beyond knowing that, yes, it's going to fit in small spaces, but where do the advantages go from there?
Well, the C50 is more than a charger. We see it as a brand extension, especially for businesses that can attract high-value customers. They can encourage them to stay there longer, to spend some more money. With the C50, retailers are able to reflect their brand identity. through a custom cabinet color, through a custom HMI screen and scheme. It sort of ensures that cohesive brand presence that's just as powerful as the digital integration that it supports, including loyalty, media, enhancing engagement, and user connections. So the engagement opportunities with this charger, they're real, right? And perhaps it's a nudge with a coupon or maybe an update on the time to charge when it completes or as part of a rewards program. The compact profile unlocks the opportunity because it can be installed in a high visibility area, like an entrance to a building or a densely packed parking lot. And it doesn't have to disrupt the foot traffic or the vehicle flow around that. So again, it's more than a charger. It's this powerful new touch point that fits in along that customer journey that allows businesses to really enhance what their core aspirations are.
That makes a ton of sense for sure. And, we've seen surveys from, retailers and business owners saying that, yes, they are interested in having charging at their place of business. If they could, they would. If they knew what to do, they would. But they often don't know what to do. They don't know where to start. And so if I'm a business owner and I'm interested, I'm seeing this charger and I'm thinking this is going to be perfect. I don't know where to start. How can I expect ABB to kind of help me along with that process?
This is absolutely the key question to ask. We're delivering the C50 as a managed asset so that these destination or retail operators can stay focused on their core business while accessing the customer engagement and the revenue benefits of EV charging. So if I'm a destination retail operator, my business might be selling yogurt as an example. I might not get EV charging and I might not need to or want to learn it. And with the C50, retail operators, they don't have to. We've got it covered. We provide comprehensive, configurable, ROI-driven services, which means as a business owner, you can now choose which level of help you need. We give you a dial with which you can choose the right level of service from ABB for your business. And one of the core tools of our service packages and the confidence that come with it is our asset management platform. And what that is it's a technology that connects our chargers via the cloud that makes monitoring and maintenance as automated as possible. So think debugging and over-the-air updating in easy mode. And this is just the beginning as the destination charging space rapidly matures. We're also examining entirely new commercial models that are optimized for the retail business case where we work closely together. So stay tuned, more to come on that. Bottom line, the C50 allows retailers to focus on their core business while simultaneously reaping the benefits of EV charging. And the C50 also allows drivers to get the energy they need as part of their regular routine. It's what I like to call a win-win-win.
Fantastic. And so if I were a business owner, hey, I want to get started on this today, would I just, call up ABB and say, hey, what's the first step? And you'd kind of walk me through. Is that kind of the idea?
Absolutely. You can find us at ABB E-mobility on the World Wide Web and reach out through our Connect portal. And one of our team members would be more than happy to walk you through our process.
Fantastic. Brent, this was very eye-opening, really, really cool product, really, really great opportunity to talk to you. Thanks for coming on the show.
David, thanks so much for having me today.
Of course. Take care. All right, that was a great interview with Brant. Really appreciate him walking us through all of the important specs and what we need to know about the C50. I'm super excited to see this out in the world, hopefully very soon. I will catch you all next time. Take care.